Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwi. This is Transformative Leaders segment. And today we are going to tackle a topic centering around accelerating transformative change within communities. And to help me with this conversation in studio today, I have one Dr. Joseph Muremi, who is the founder and CEO of Save a Life Community. Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for making time for us.
I appreciate it.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm fine. Yes. I'm grateful.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Karibu sana.
To you and also to KBC community.
Yes. Yeah. Now, when we talk about transformative change within communities, in your own perspective, I would want to know, what is transformative change?
If you allow I'll start by introducing myself.
Yes.
My name is Dr. Joseph Muremi. As you said, I'm a founder of Save a Life organization.
Yes.
And for me, I define transformational leadership as leadership whereby our main aim is transforming, changing lives in a positive way, where we are leaving a positive impact. And that can be from maybe in terms of mindset, in terms of maybe physical change. That can be in terms of growth.
Yes.
So where leaders are transforming individuals, changing individuals, changing communities, that's where now we talk about transformation.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about accelerating this transformative change, how can we now achieve it?
For me, I think once we understand what is transformational change, and you're talking about dealing with people.
Yes.
They're going through. For example, I was telling you about when you go to a place like Turkana, where I'm doing a lot of transform communities.
Yes.
And you find that some are not even, they're not inspired, they're not motivated, and you find that there are some gaps whereby they cannot even access health facility, and that has been our main thing. And recently, like we got like over 15 from kids from Turkana. We were doing the surgeries here in Nairobi. And far from this, now bridging this gap, we are also doing a lot of empowering. How can we change that mindset? How can we inspire them to think positively? And because, you know, hope is what keeps us going.
Yes.
And if you can think of how you can transform, you can change that person to a better person. I think that should be the discussion we should be having, yeah? And understanding the real issues that people are facing. That's what we'll be discussing. And understanding what they need. Because sometimes we might go to maybe a certain community and we bring something that they don't need. Yeah? What you need to understand is to understand what is the gap, what do they need, instead of now you bring what you think that they need.
Yes.
Understand what is lacking. And from there, once you bridge that, once you help them to move to the next level, that's what you're talking about, transformational leadership. Yeah.
So you have to go there and sit down with them or engage, observe, so as to understand what exactly they need.
That's true. And you find that even non-profits, sometimes they make mistakes.
Yeah.
Where they go to a certain community, they find certain group of people, and they do what they have been doing in different communities, and they don't appreciate. You find that they don't take it and they don't utilize. You find that there is a lot of investment, but they don't touch their lives. They don't transform their lives. And that's you find that they miss the point. And once you miss the point, you miss the entire thing. So for me, I think is, as we do, because we are dealing with different people and different regions, you understand what they are lacking, what they need, and you work with them. And for me, I think back to basics, understand their basic. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Today in my court, today early morning, the first thing I did, I have been seeing 3 boys around my court. And I asked my kids, do you know the reason why these kids are not going to school? And they told me that it's because of school fees. They don't have school fees. Today early morning, that was the first thing I did. After dropping my kids to school, I made sure that now these kids have money. Because now the mother, I was told that they separated with the husband and she lost her job. And the kids has been at home from last semester, this semester, and they were now she was to move them to a public school, but they need some money to move them to a public school. And she could not afford this money. You can imagine, even she cannot access that public school. So what I did early in the morning, before coming here, I had to understand that these kids, if they get someone who can just, walk with the mother a little bit, you see, I transform their lives. You can imagine today, if such kids, they cannot access education.
And that is just a cross section, just a small tip of the iceberg.
Small, I'm giving an example. And again, I like talking about back to basics. It's about understanding. Like, for example, personally, I keep on saying, how many suits do I need? How many cars can you, or maybe how many shoes can you put on? Yeah. Just one. Yes. And if we know that, we acknowledge that if God has given you certain maybe ability in terms of maybe resources, skills, or maybe brains, God has blessed us so that you can be a blessing to someone else, so that you can consider someone else. I don't need to think about the latest suit, designer suit in town, so that I keep on changing. But I need to consider, how is my community doing? If I can, all of us can think in this direction. I'm telling you, in Kenya, we'll do away with poverty. We'll do away with people who are not empowered. And I think this is the discussion that we should be discussing. When we talk about transformational leadership, is understanding what can you do to someone else. And a leader is not someone who is sitting in an office or maybe sitting in maybe in a higher office. No. A leader is someone who can see a gap and maybe step in and change that maybe situation. And for me, I believe a leader is someone who can make a difference. A leader is someone who has skills. For example, in my bedroom, I think the only person who comes to my bedroom maybe most of the time is my wife. But sometimes when I have a problem with the bulb, I'll call an electrician. In that time, he's a leader because he'll come and tell me, move this bed. He's in charge. And he sees that this is a gap. I need to do this. And all of us, we can make a difference in one way or another. Despite you don't need to be so learned, maybe to have a lot of money, but if you can see a gap, what you can do, step in and change someone's life in a positive way. Like now in this platform, we're talking about inspiring, motivating someone who is watching today, someone who has been, for example, going through a lot of maybe challenges. Today, telling him it's not the end of life. Tomorrow will be different. That is transformation, because we're changing the mindset.
I'd love to know, you work with various people from various communities. What inspired you to start Save a Life, and what inspires your approach to transformative initiative within the communities?
That's a good question. I'll say that for me, serving, I'll say is more of a calling. I say it's a calling. And I believe this is my purpose in life. And I was a journalist like you one day, and I went to do a story I was a cameraman. I went to do a story in Mathare. And I found a young lady, I remember Sylvia, and she had a fracture. And she was sick, I think, with this fracture for almost a year. And the hand was, rotting. And I didn't have the money, but I had the skills. That's why I said that if you're a leader and you have skills, you can change a life. I had my camera. I took the pictures, told the story. We got the money. I remember they have, I think, tried to fundraise. The first fundraising they got, I think, 7,000. The second was, I think, around 3,000 to 5,000. And they ate the money. That money could not even do the investigation. So when I did the story, because they needed around 250,000, I took the girl to Kijabe Hospital. And we were able to pay for the medical bill. And we did the surgery. And the girl today is okay. So after that, I felt, okay, so I can use my skills as a journalist to save lives. Using that lens, the next story, it was in Korogosho, a lady who needed a cardiac surgery. She needed 500,000 in Kenyatta. I did the story again, got the money, took the girl to the hospital, and said, okay, so I can use my skills to transform my life. Then I started doing that. Till today, we have transformed so many, from feeding programs, empowerment programs, over 100,000 cases, and over, I think, 2,000 major cases, surgery that we have done. So what I want to say is that sometimes is understanding the need of people that you are living in, and that's why we keep on saying that no one who can live on an island. And that's why we are given differently. God has blessed you in a different way. That's why you find there's someone who can do this, someone else cannot do this. And we need to live together in harmony, that unity, so that we can bridge the gap, help each other, and grow together as one people. And for me, I believe that's why God created us in different diversity, different, ideas, different also ability. And this ability, what we need to do is to work together so that we can keep on working together as one people.
So the idea is to start from where you are,
exactly,
regardless of what you have. If you are in a capacity to help, just do it.
And having said that, I have a friend of mine keep on saying that when I get a lot of money, I'll start helping initiative. I told him that's a scam. Helping is where you are. It's sacrificing, and helping is not losing. Helping is what can you do? For example, if maybe I'm doing, maybe for now we have a medical camp, working with, we have partnered with an organization called iHope, and we'll be in Embu from 17th to 23rd. We'll be doing surgeries. And if you don't have money, but you can be available and help us, that is helping. If maybe you can come and give us idea, that is helping. So basically, helping is deciding to help. It doesn't mean that you need to have a lot of money to help. No, even giving that, like for example, people that have been helping us, Kenyans, and those people who give 10 shilling, 20, 30, 100, and through that, bring that money together, we are able to help so many people.
Yes. When we talk about accelerating transformative change within communities, we cannot ignore the place of local leaders in achieving this.
That's true.
So what is the role, according to you, what is the role of local leaders in accelerating the change that we are talking about
That's
here?
a good example. And I'll start from, give an example because I work with church leaders.
Yes.
And I think doing this, they have been key supporter in what I do in Save a Life. And is understanding that all of us are human beings. And I want to highlight some cases that I don't feel comfortable with, where you find that it is a congregation of maybe, for example, 500 people.
Yes.
We have maybe a patient who has been sick for the last maybe 10 years or 5 years, and that person has been in that church. And that leader has been seeing the gap, but is not stepping in. And you can imagine even saying that let's contribute 100 bob each and pay for maybe NHIF and maybe help this lady. It's very much possible.
Yes.
So, as I said earlier, is understanding what can you do at your capacity. Are you a church leader? What can you do? You have maybe felt, for example, the example that I've just given you, that I had a lady in our court who had been, the kids have not been going to school from last semester to this semester. To today. I think you'll be going today because I have given them the money today. And I believe that this lady has been going to church. These kids, they belong to somewhere, to a certain church. But the leader is just seeing the gap. But what maybe he can do, he can maybe only say, let's pray for these kids. Let's pray for this lady. That is not enough. Yes, pray for them, but they need the money. That's why you find that local leaders, they will say, I need a car, support me financially. But you, when you have a problem, wanasema wakuombe. That's not enough. So for me, what I mean is that all the leaders, from church leaders, local leaders, government leaders, is understanding, okay, what can we do? Which gap can we maybe bridge and all that? Like, for example, give an example. And I understand the leaders in Embu, they're also part of this iHope. They felt that there is a gap. They have so many people which they have not done the surgeries, and they don't have enough maybe supply and surgeons and all that. But we are bringing surgeons from USA, from Europe, from Argentina to come and do this. So it's about seeing the gap and how can you come in. What are you willing to do? But don't just see the gap, just wait someone else to come and help. So what I mean is, as a leader, identify the problem and act. And acting, there are so many ways that you can act. Nowadays, I believe that everybody is on social media. I'm doing a lot on social media. I fundraise through social media. If you see a gap, go and talk about the problem. Talk about what is going on. And allow me to give an example of the same thing that I have done today morning. And because for me, I like giving the real examples. In our court, we have so many people. You can imagine, because we're around, I think, 20,000 to join the public school. If someone can see that these kids have not been in school. I didn't know. And just go onto that WhatsApp group, and maybe people can contribute. You can imagine the magnitude, the change that we can bring through using social media to bring that positive change.
Yes.
Are you getting? So what I mean is that some leaders see the gap and they keep quiet. But there are some who are taking that action and bridging the gap.
It also brings out the aspect of identifying and identifying priorities.
Yes.
How can leaders now identify priorities and ensure they prioritize issues that are major and are affecting communities?
Thank you. Back to basics. Understand the basic needs. Issues like food, education, health, basic. And from there, you say that this is more important. How can we bridge this gap? If we start with the most, because normally you work with the inverted pyramid, yeah, and you see the most needed, item in that community or to that individual. Then you start from that, and from there you're able to move. That's why you find that maybe, for example, is a national government or maybe local government which is pushing something which you don't need. You understand? But there is an issue which people, if they don't access it, they will die. Are you getting? Let's talk about health. Let's talk about access to food. Let's discuss about those issues. Let's talk about basic issues. Education. Education is key in our lives. And once you are able to prioritize that, then I'm sure you're going to transform this nation. And not only from not looking at that, sometimes as Kenyans we focus on what the government is doing, what the government is not doing. But what are you doing as individual? What are you doing in that community? Yeah? Are you in that locality where you are? What are you doing? Which impact are you doing? Have you ever done something for someone? Have you ever done something for the community? Or you're just saying the government, are you getting? So for me, I think if we work together as one people, we'll be able to uplift so many people. Yes. And poverty will be something of the past. Even
besides the government, just as you have said, besides the government, the other community leaders, the people, how do you bring in the people and ensure that they are included in all this transformational change? Because you have to start somewhere, and the people are the ones with whom you start.
Perfect. And I say that first is, of course, you start with the mindset. Once you think positive, I think that's the first step. You as a person, when you see positive, you think positive, that's the first step. The next thing is to, if now the case needs to, maybe because there are so many, as we said, that there are so many ways that you can change people. You can inspire them in a positive way. Yeah, you can find that they are lacking something that you can provide. Yeah, so for me, what I think as a leader is, I said, you identify the problem, you start acting from being positive, and you find that people will rally behind you. Yes. I'll give an example of Save a Life. How I started as individual, as something that I felt now I need to help this young girl. And when Kenyans now started seeing that I have acted, started now rallying behind, started joining. And I have gotten so many people, even leaders, coming to support, from national government, coming to support what I'm doing. And again, on the same, I've also inspired so many people, local and international, to think about how they can help someone. So for me, I think is having that positive mind to help. Again, start acting. What can you do? Start moving, and people will rally behind you. People will always support. Like, for example, what I do, Kenya started supporting. Like now, I get a call and people ask, which patient do you have? Which program are you doing? What are you doing? People want to support because they have seen what I'm doing. And talk about integrity. Because as a leader, if you demonstrate integrity, we're talk about honesty. People, they see that it is you who are doing this. I'm telling you, they will always work with you.
Change is, we are living in a time when social media has taken prevalence, and driving the transformational change that we are talking about. requires the inclusion of social media.
Yes.
How can people now leverage the social media and achieve the accelerated change and transformative change that we are talking about?
That's a very good subject. And to be honest, I think young people are misusing social media. For example, now if you go to Twitter and Facebook, young people, they you find, for me, I feel that they're misusing it. But you should be able to use social media to push positive change. Yeah, talk about issues that are affecting us. Yeah, talk about maybe inspire people, drive that positive energy to people. Yeah, when you wake up in the morning, tell them good morning, wish them well. Yeah, tell them that you can do it. We need that positive, influence in social media. Yes. But when you see young people using social media to abuse each other, you find that, and when you do that, it also reflects back to you because there's that power of what you think. If you're negative, you also attract that negative energy. There's a book called The Secret, talking about what you think is what you attract. If you think negative, you also, pull that negative energy. But when you think positive, you also pull that positive energy and you keep on dreaming positive. So what I mean is social media is a big tool in today's world. And social media can be used to push positive vibe. And I urge young people, like for example, you find that, for example, I get young people approaching me on social media, on WhatsApp. And you find that the picture that is on WhatsApp or the language, it's not even positive. You personally, before responding, you see that what is, are you getting? And nowadays, if you apply for a job, the first thing they do, they go on social media, then they see what you have been talking about. Yes. They see who you are. And online doesn't forget. Yes. When you put something online on that social, on that FB, on that, it doesn't forget. So what I mean is, people should see social media as a platform of social change, of positive change, of pushing something positive for people. And when we talk about transformational leadership, that's what we should be utilizing. And I'm a good example. When you talk about online, when you go to my Facebook page, I'm ministering, I'm serving God through my social media platform. I'm visiting people, fundraising, giving, inspiring people on social media. And you find that, like on my page, I get millions coming to my page. I have over 200,000 followers. And people that come to my main aim is to inspire them. But why should I be there to discourage someone? Are you getting?
Yeah. Talk about, are there metrics or indicators, that can be used to measure or evaluate the progress of the initiatives that accelerate transformational change? But we'll come back to that after we come from this short break. Welcome back. This is Transformative Leaders on Good Morning Kenya. And before we went on a break, I had just asked Daktari here, are there metrics or indicators that can be used to measure or evaluate progress in as far as accelerating the transformational change that we are talking about is concerned?
For me, when you talk about indicators, I see the change that has taken place in people's lives. Talk about education. And now if you go to Nairobi town and maybe throw a stone, probably it will drop to someone who has a degree.
Yes.
Yeah. And you find that there is that huge difference between 20 years ago and now.
And now, yes.
So when we talk about education, I think we are doing well.
Yes.
Talk about, for example, health facility. When you go to counties, And I love the leadership about devolution, the idea about devolution. You find that in our counties, you can access health in different counties. Yeah, although you're still struggling there, but there is huge growth. We talk about health facility, and we talk about accessing, food. Will show me that many people are able to access food. Yeah, apart from maybe, let's say they would maybe like it in a different way, but you find that nowadays we don't get stories of people dying because of hunger, not as before. So for me, I think we are doing well, and from our church leaders, I think there is a huge growth. And when talk about integrity again, for me I think also there is growth because people are able to understand that how much do I need? I can only, for example, and these are maybe topics that should be discussing a lot, because how much can you keep for yourself?
How much does one need?
Exactly. Yeah. And how much do you need? For example, if you have a car, you can only drive one car at a time. Yes. If people can understand this, there's no need of, when you get an opportunity, you take that opportunity of siphoning everything in that basket. So for me, I think if we continue discussing about this, pushing this narrative of now understanding that we are there so that we can live together in harmony. And you're not better than me. We are all equal. We are all equal. What I have an opportunity that someone else doesn't have. So what you need to do is just to work together and see how this opportunity can help that someone who doesn't have an opportunity. If I'm in a public office, how can I now this position help someone who is down there? That's the mindset that we'll be having. So for me, I think there's change in our country, in our communities, huge one, also in a different setup, also in churches. People are, we are changing with time. We are changing with time. Yes. People are getting this narrative of pushing positive, change to our community and to our people.
Talk about the challenges that hinder effective transformative change initiatives. What are the major challenges that, from a general perspective?
Yes.
What are the major challenges?
For me, I think, as a transformational leader, I think integrity is key. I need to have integrity. So when others lack integrity, there's theft. There's people, there's a lot of stealing. So for me, I remember there's a case I went to do. I was helping a kid in Meru. And I remember I found the area MCA. And area MCA told me, yeah, this is my space. You cannot come to my space to help. And if we need to help, you need to give me some money. You understand? I'm going in a certain way to help someone, a kid who is suffering with cancer. But the area MCA is telling me that I need to pay him for me to help this, baby boy. Are you getting? So lack of integrity. Yeah? People thinking about themselves. How can they benefit? Are you getting? And that's what hinders development in Kenya. And if people can, change the perspective, that great, if they change that perspective about life, I'm sure we can do a lot. So for me, with this experience, I think I can say integrity has been part of what affects people to even push that positive, change in people's and community. And another thing is, I think, lack of resources. Lack of resources, because, for example, I want to do more. But, for example, if I can only pick one patient per week, and is very expensive, but I want to do 10 or 20, you understand, lack of resources, it is hindering me. And you find that there are, like in the field that I do, you find that also there are cartels, people who will make sure that you're not visible. You cannot tap to resources. They want to access those resources. The issue of integrity again. So I think that's a major issue. Yes. But that's why I'm saying these are very good opportunities that we can have such, topics. Yes. And I'm sure many people are listening. And I'm sure we have inspired positive change today.
Speaking of inspiration, as we come to a close of this segment, inspire someone who wants to start transforming the people of, in their own capacity, transforming
Thank you.
from where they are?
Thank you. I want to start with someone who is maybe going through hard times. And I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. And you know, Jesus Christ was also a transformational leader. And he was also a servant leader. Because to be a transformational leader, you need to be a servant leader. You need to serve people. And in the Bible, in the big book, because I follow the big book.
Yes.
There's a guy called Joseph in the Bible. When you read about Genesis from 39, this guy had a dream of becoming someone great. But from the time he was young, the siblings used to discourage him and to fight him and all that. Then after that, he went to prison. He was again in prison for years. And he was a slave. But at the end, he was taken in command. What I want to say is you're going through hard times now, difficulties. Just believe there is hope. Tomorrow will be different. Just believe in God. Keep moving. Things will change. And again, for those who want to do something, start doing it. And doing it is, if you don't have money, you can go to your church, clean, or maybe go to your community, do a cleanup, do something that you can, you are able to do. If you're a scholar like me, you can do research.
Yes.
Are you getting?
Yeah.
If you have money, that's why Save a Life is here. And you want to be part of Save a Life, you can go to a website that is www.savealifecommunity.org. Be part of us, and we really appreciate it. Because I keep on saying that service to humanity is service to God.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Thank you for making time for us.
Asante.
We have been talking to one Dr. Joseph Muremi, who is the founder and CEO of Save a Life Community. This has been Transformative Leaders. My name is Mike Migu. Don't go too far. Good Morning Kenya continues shortly.